Hey everyone, welcome to our first asynchronous activity. So while you're not in class with me, something that we're going to be working on over the next couple of weeks is this AP Biology intro assignment. Now, as I already explained to you, this was our former summer assignment that we couldn't do this year. And the reason why we're still going to do it is because it's not just about like front-loading material. This assignment's actually about setting you up for success for this course. The first two parts ask you to complete basically a review of what we consider to be prerequisite material, which is to say vocabulary, and reminding yourself of things which you learned back in your baby bio days or in chemistry class. I know that everybody's coming at this course with a different level of chemistry. We have some people who haven't yet taken the course, and we have some people who have already completed AP Chem. That's okay. This document will get you set up just to start refreshing your memory or introducing some basic, straightforward ideas from chemistry, which, as we start our biochemistry unit, which is part of our first unit of this course, that stuff will quickly come into play, and you'll quickly start to see how it meshes and fits in with the bigger picture of biology on that level. So when you look at this, you could use any notes you might have retained from your previous class, YouTube resources like Crash Course or Amoeba Sisters, Khan Academy. Bozeman, pretty cool dude. If you've never seen any Bozeman videos, great biology resource, and he creates videos that are tailored specifically to AP Bio, so those are great. We will use all of this frequently throughout the year, which is why it's going to be important. It's organized by the big ideas. That doesn't mean much for you, except that these terms are sort of grouped together. So if you could cover sort of like one section at a time, maybe make Quizlet sets. Once you're signed up for our course Quizlet, you could even potentially share that with other students, which would be pretty cool. So I think that's enough of me talking about how to study vocab. Just be working on that sort of in the background and maybe quizzing yourself. There will be a quiz of sorts that you'll complete just to demonstrate that you do have a good understanding of those terms and how they apply. For part 3, you're going to be doing what we call a CER, and that stands for Claim, Evidence, Response, Reasoning. And what happens is if you click on this, there's a YouTube video which talks about this process. It's actually Bozeman doing it. That's not his name. It's like the town he lives in, but we'll just call him Bozeman. The point of a CER is essentially taking the idea of a traditional laboratory report and breaking it down into like, what is the main point? And the main point is that we're making a claim, or we're hoping to establish a claim about some phenomena, something we're observing in nature, and we want to establish evidence and be clear with the reasoning of why that evidence helps to support or reject our claim. And so the whole point of it is that we're really breaking down the process of lab writing into do we have a good understanding of why, when we collect these numbers, it actually does mean something. Because I'm sure if you really think about it, you've probably written plenty of lab reports where you just collected the thing you were told to collect, and then you sort of spat out the desired conclusion, and you're done, and you don't really think about it. But there's a lot more to the process of really understanding, why do these numbers actually mean something? And once you understand that, it becomes so much easier to really understand the limitations of the lab, of potential errors that could be made, and really just to understand the whole process better. So there's a document, there's a video, and then what you're going to do is read this article and analyze the data and produce your own CER. This could be done digitally. It could be done by hand. If you do it by hand, I'll just ask that when it's time to submit it, that you take a clear picture of it that's readable, and then you'll submit that to me. For part 4, it's very similar. There's a document, there's a video. The video is basically just me explaining the document. And this is a statistical test that we'll employ at least a few times throughout the year. I think it's an important one for us to understand from a biology perspective, and it's called the chi-squared, not chi or chi, chi-square analysis. And then once you have an understanding of how that works, you'll go through this scenario where you're talking about a field where there's different types of insects which have been observed, and then based upon what our expectation is of how many of those insects we should see and what our actual observation is, we'll use the chi-square test to inform whether or not there's a significant enough difference between the expected and the observed to be meaningful. And you'll complete this little chart here. And that's it. So this is an assignment that we should be doing sort of in the background of when we are meeting face-to-face and can actually be doing other activities, which will include a lab and will include doing some of these things as well. But this will be what you're working on when you are not with me. So if you have any questions at all during this whole period when you're working on it, please just send me an email and I'd be happy to help you out. And probably a little bit later, maybe on one of the office hour days, I can establish sort of a time when we could go through maybe some specific questions related to this document, and that'll hopefully help you out. Okay, if you need anything, let me know.